Hello there, I'm Garry Foster and welcome to episode 17 of What Price Victory. And today's episode is a relatively quick one. It's a wrap of the season that has just been completed. And as you can see by the table, Western Sydney Wanderers stayed at the top of the league and ended up with 45 points, 2 ahead of Adelaide United. And special mention, I guess, to Newcastle Jets, who squeaked into the semi-final series on the last day. They were our grand final opponents, and we were able to beat them 2-0, which in effect was the double for the Wanderers. So pretty good result. The semi-final series as their confirmation that Western Sydney Wanderers defeated the Newcastle Jets 2-0. From there you can also see that the Wanderers are into the second round of the Asian Champions League against Beijing Guoyang, and that'll be coming up in a few months' time. And also the FFA Cup, that'll be starting in July, but we probably won't follow that until it gets to the latter stages because the board aren't all that fussed with it. And even though Wanderers are the current holders, and it was our gateway into the Asian Champions League this year, it won't be a priority for the board and it won't be a priority for us this year, and it'll only be recorded if we get to the final. It's going into our inbox. You can see that the end of season awards, the fans' player of the season was Bernie Obini with an overwhelming 75%, with James Terese on 11% and Stephen Ugarkovic with 8%. Interesting with Ugarkovic getting so many votes because he was injured for some time. The goal of the season was to Mason Fernandez, who scored a screamer for the Wanderers against Lions FC from Queensland in the FFA Cup. And we can just quickly see that goal. So Hamed was on the ball, back to Traore, to Williams. He squared it up to Ugarkovic, who gave a little ball to Fernandez, and then Fernandez with the daisy cutter. I was actually quite surprised with it going in because I thought the goalkeeper would have been able to stop that. Our signing of the season was seen as Ramon Aziz, and he's been vital for us both as a defensive midfielder and as a central midfielder in a playmaking role. Young player of the season was Kino Bacchus, who had a good introduction to the A-League as well. Right, there's a number of analysts' reports here which I don't really think we need to go into. I mean, it's interesting if you're statistically minded. Club Vision is an interesting one because they've snuck in a couple of furfies, which is developing players in the club's youth system, but the youth system has just recently been downgraded and they won't fund the improvements. So that's going to be interesting further on down the season. Sign players to sell for a profit. That concerns me a little bit because I don't want to be a development club for overseas clubs, but we'll just have to take that in our stride. Maximum 1-year contracts for players over 32, not such a big deal, and a minimum 2-year contract for first team players, which is also not such a big deal. End of next season to finish in the top 3. Well, ideally we would like to finish in the top 2 to avoid that elimination semi-final, and also it gives us qualifying into the group stage if we win the championship or we win the grand final. And there's also an expectation we'll reach the second round of the Asian Champions League, which we've done so far for this current season, and my contract expires next year, so I'm reasonably confident that I should get a contract extension there. I neglected to mention the Team of the Year awards, which is pretty straightforward. I think there's a couple of surprises there. Medjias in goal, no surprise. Traore, Wilmering, Wright and Gordon. Wilmering and Gordon in particular were bit part players, so I'm a little bit surprised of their inclusion. Antonis, Aziz and Bacchus are pretty much, they picked themselves. When Aziz came in, he made the central midfield his own. Antonis was a lone player. He's left us now, so it'll be up to the scouts to find some recommendations for me. Therese and Abini are wide attacking players, a no-brainer, and Hamed is our striker up front. Hamed has also left us to return to Israel, so once again I'm in the market for some strikers. Okay, so let's quickly go up to the end of season review, where the Western Sydney Wanderers were victorious. So this season results, the new arrivals, Traore from Melbourne Victory, Aziz, who I got from Granada, was they were instrumental in our successful year. Dimitri Petrados, he was our lone player in. He also had a great game. Rami Najareen in from Melbourne City, good player. Bailey Wright from Sunderland, and Connor Metcalf, who was a late season signing for us. So they all acquitted themselves quite well. Season results, the board expectation was a top half, and we actually finished first. So that was pretty good. And Bernie Obini was our top scorer. So the board were delighted, as you would expect. Moments to remember, our biggest win was against MacArthur. Our Asian Champions League game against Daegu was perhaps impressive, but I think there was a couple of other games later on in that campaign against Seongnam and Shanhua that were impressive performances away from home. The goal of the season was Fernandez, who gave the great strike in the FFA Cup. Numbers there, all to do with revenue. Yeah, not really much we can do about that because it's all out of our control. How we lined up, we've dealt with this before, with a couple of surprises there in defence with Wilmering and Ziggy Gordon. Accolades, was fortunate enough to be named Manager of the Year. Fans Player, we've done all these. Bacchus and Signing of the Season, Goal of the Season. Top Scorer was Hamed with 21 goals. Most assists was Therese, and Player of the Match was Bernie Obini, who's recently signed a 2-year contract. So that's pretty impressive. Tomo Hamed, record-breaking goals. All pretty good stuff. So, and history in the making. So we scooped the awards with the double. Got to have a look at some league awards. Bernie Obini with the Isuzu top of the tree. We'll look quickly at the award winners, and we'll go to the Goalkeeper of the Year, which is from Adelaide United. Medjas was second. Golden Boot, which was Bernie Obini with 25 appearances, scoring 17 goals, 3 more ahead of Chris Economides from Melbourne Victory. Manager of the Year was yours truly, and the Player of the Year was from Western United, Diamantry. So yeah, all in all, a pretty good season all around for the Wanderers. While we're here, we just should briefly go into the Team of the Year, which is dominated with Wanderers players. We've got Medjas in goal, Traore in defence. We've got Bacchus, Kunu Bacchus. Now that's an interesting selection, because he was the young Player of the Year, and I thought there'd be a number of more contenders than him. But anyway, he's been nominated. Therese and Obini, the wide attacking players in the Team of the Year, no surprise there. And Hamed as up the pointy end of the ship. Also fortunate enough to have Bailey Wright, Ziggy Gordon, and Dimitri Petrados on the bench. So interesting that Medjas was chosen in the Team of the Year, even though he wasn't the Goalkeeper of the Year. So we'll continue that, and we'll just skip forward ahead in game time, and we'll just do a recap of the individual player performances. Okay, so we've done a little bit of admin and skipped ahead to the end of season team stats. So you can see that 4 appearances, although we were criticised in the press for having a high rotation of players, especially our under 21s and under 18s side have been filtered out. You can see there was quite a number of players who played a lot of football this year, all the way from Medjas all the way down to Agarkovic and Wilmering. So they got a lot of game time. There's a couple of guys down here who I've got in on trial to have a look at, because Hamed and Petratos, they're on their way back to their clubs, which is a bit of a bugger, because I've tried valiantly to try and re-sign Petratos, but not to be. As you can see, Tomo Hamed, top scorer in all competitions with 21 goals. Bernie Abini with 18 from the right wing. Both had good seasons. Third place with 11 goals was Dimitri Petratos. So, as you can see, I'm losing my first and third top goal scorers. So the challenge will be on to find some attacking players. Average ratings, all pretty good, all scoring higher than the 6.7, and lots of the players rating over 7, which I think is pretty exceptional. So all in all, a pretty good season for the Wanderers. Well, more than pretty good. It was an excellent season. We exceeded the board's expectation, and now we've got a rod for our back to make it into that semi-final series again. But I'm reasonably confident. There'll be a little bit of staff turnover between now and the kick-off of the season. We've got an Asian Cup Champions League second round game to play, which will probably be in the next video. A fair bit of admin to do between now and then. So I'm Garry Foster. Thank you very much for watching this wrap, and we'll catch up with you soon. All the best now. Bye-bye.